Welcome back to Movies TV Man, and welcome to Tuesday's edition of the DCU Daily. You may or may have not heard that Warner Brothers Discovery is splitting into two companies, but the truth is, this is nothing but a scam, a blag, and a facade. First of all, I'm going to read you the details about this situation. Then I'm going to explain to you the truth of this situation, because nobody actually gets what a blag and a scam this is. David Zaslav and Warner Brothers Discovery are a debt-ridden, very, very desperate, panicky, paranoid company. They're about to fall to their knees and beg for mercy, but they want to look like a competent bunch of people. A competent company, which they're not. David Zaslav is a fucking disaster, and I'm going to explain to you how and why David Zaslav is a fucking disaster. Warner Brothers Discovery to split into two companies to build streaming, to build a platform and a format that is geo-fucking locked and nobody is fucking watching. As a Disney executive said the other day, streaming is dead. But David Zaslav, someone who has no scripted entertainment experience, is still gonna die on this fucking hill. So, let's read on. New York, United States Warner Brothers Discovery announced Monday that it will split into two companies as it seeks to build up its streaming business while also maximizing value in legacy news and entertainment products. To build up its streaming business. You haven't built it up, you can't build it up, you're not going to maximize its business because in many, many countries around the world, we still don't have access to Max or other streaming platforms. They're crap anyway, but we can't have access to things like Peacemaker 2 and Lanterns. So you're building up something that most people can't watch. Think about this for a minute. When we were kids in the UK, we had 3 channels. We had access to American stuff, Australian stuff, British stuff. We never missed anything. We may have had to wait a year or two to get the new up-to-date episodes, but we always got them. With streaming, it's geo-locked, and some countries don't have access. This is how pathetic modern-day Western English-speaking entertainment has become. They've created a platform, a group of platforms where a lot of people don't have access to their product. It's like trying to get into a shop, right, but it's locked. You can see a bunch of customers in there, but you can't get in to buy a can of Coca-Cola. That's how fucking stupid it is. Anyway. So, the entertainment giant will break itself into 2 publicly traded companies in streaming and studios and global networks. The shift designed to enable each venture to maximize its potential bullshit is expected to be completed by mid-2026, the company said. By then, they may even be bankrupt. He may actually have to sell off everything piece by piece. Superman to one company, Batman to the other. They're so desperate. So many things are relying on the DCU being successful. I don't believe the DCU is going to be successful. And this is another hill that Zaslav, an unexperienced scripted entertainment man, a know-nothing, he decided to embrace connected universes and franchises, and it's going to end up hitting him hard. Anyway, the move, which relocates assets such as HBO Max and CNN, is the latest reflection of how streaming is remaking a media business. Streaming isn't remaking anything. Streaming is dead. I'm going to explain everything to you, right? I'm going to explain to you the difference between linear TV, which is the old broadcast TV, and streaming and what they're really attempting to do. And they've hidden it really, really well. I didn't understand this wording at first, but then I realised what was going on. When I first saw the headline, that they're splitting into 2 divisions, I thought, this is dumb. It's dumb anyway. But then when I started to realise, yeah, once you realise, you can't unrealise, right? Anyway. So the move, which relocates assets such as HBO Max and CNN, is the latest reflection of how streaming is remaking a media business in which Warner Brothers Discovery and other legacy players traditionally garnered considerable revenues from bundled. They have not made many revenues from the bundles. That was another desperate attempt because streaming wasn't working. Cable products that many consumers are now eschewing in favour of a la carte streaming purchases. See, this is a lie. This is part of the propaganda. They're saying that you're not interested in cable anymore. You're only interested in streaming bundles because that's what they want you to fucking believe. Anyway. Streaming and studios will include the libraries of HBO and Warner Brothers studio production facilities in California and Britain and tours and experiences. The venture will focus on growing HBO Max now in 77 markets, said the company's press release. 77 markets. How many countries? Count how many countries there are. And they're only available in 77 fucking markets. What have they been around for now? 6, 7, 8 years? Global networks will house Discovery as well as CNN and TNT Sports, which are known for coverage of live events. Assets in this group currently reach 1.1 billion viewers across 200 countries and territories. That's fucking nothing. That's nothing. Warner Brothers Discovery CEO David Zaslav will serve as chief of streaming, while Warner Brothers Discovery Chief Financial Officer Gunnar Woodfields will lead global networks, right? I'm going to explain that to you, right? By operating as two distinct and optimized companies in the future, we are empowering these iconic brands with the sharper focus and strategic flexibility they need to compete most effectively in today's evolving media landscape. Zaslav said he's using words you don't understand so he can look like he knows what he's fucking doing. One dumb YouTuber said this is what should have been the case all the time because apparently this used to be the way it used to be. Wrong again, Zod. And that is the information, and now I'm going to translate this bullshit information to you. So now you know the details of this so-called WB Discovery split. I'm going to explain to you what actually really is going on. Do you remember a few weeks ago, Warner Brothers Discovery's credit rating was reduced to trash? Do you remember that? I'm sure you do. This was because of their linear TV, which I explained to you is broadcast TV, cable TV. They've allowed all of that to run down so they can say that shit, so you all take the streaming bundles because they're losing millions on streaming because people are still embracing the old way of watching TV. It's not working out for them because the lack of quality creatively today is not helping streaming either. So not only does the Disney executive think that streaming is dead, you the public, we the public know it for a fact. So because they've been running down linear cable television to basically upscale streaming, they were given, their credit rating was reduced to trash because of the lack of quality on linear cable television. And this is why they're splitting everything up. So they're saying, linear TV, we hate you. We're going to give it to that Gunnar guy. That Gunnar guy can just deal with that. We're just going to let it fester and rot. We don't care about linear cable TV. So we're getting rid of that. That's going to be nothing to do with the other side. HBO Max, our library, our museums, everything. Our movie studio, WB Pictures, they're all going to be over here. HBO Max, all going to be over here. And that linear cable broadcast TV, that can go over there. Gunnar, do whatever the fuck you want with it. The reason they've done this, if they do this, then that won't happen to their credit rating again. So instead of saying we've really allowed our linear TV to subside to downgrade, and that's why our credit rating has been reduced. Let's do something about it. Let's rebuild up our linear cable television. No! No! Let's keep on climbing up the streaming hill, even though the hill is collapsing as we're climbing upon it. Streaming is dead. It was never really alive. Netflix came out with this idea about streaming things via the internet. Going onto this place, watching films, watching television, great idea. Netflix is still working. I mean, they make a load of trash themselves. Don't get me wrong. I don't even subscribe to Netflix anymore. I don't subscribe to any of them. That was my New Year's resolution, as I've mentioned a while back, that I was going to unsubscribe from all streaming services and embrace physical media. I barely go to the cinema. I barely watch new shows because there's nothing to watch. There's no heroes left in the creative world anymore. So that, my friends, is the truth. Warner Brothers Discovery isn't really splitting into two companies. What it's doing, it's dumping its broadcast TV over there with this Gooner guy, whoever he is, right? Not a Gooner. Not a Gooner. He's not gooning. But yeah. So that's over there because it's trash. They hate it, right? And then you've got the rest of it, which they value, and they're going to try and, they keep on saying, building our streaming up. Did you notice in that press release, they don't mention cinema. They don't really mention Warner Brothers Pictures because they don't really care about all of that. All they care about is their fucking streaming. And that's why they're doing the DCU to try and uplift their streaming. That's why they're rebooting Harry Potter on HBO Max, a platform that's geo-locked, which most of the world still won't have access to. Because this is how stupid. Their greed, my friends, makes them fucking stupid. That's why they've cut 30 minutes of James Gunn's Superman movie and subtracted away the very interesting and unique episodic structure. A 2.5-hour movie with an episodic daily structure? Wow! Give me that fucking movie! This reduced 2-hour piece of shit that's probably not even going to make any sense now because it was supposed to be an episodic movie, right? They haven't reshot it. They haven't tried to turn it into something else. They're just cutting all bits off. So it's going to be shit. So this is what they do. Because of their greed, because of their panic, because of their paranoia, because of their constant looking over their shoulders, they make dumb decisions. So Warner Brothers Discovery really isn't breaking and splitting into two companies. It's a blag, it's a con, it's a facade. All they're doing is saying cable linear TV. Over there, the rest of the stuff that we value, that we're going to attempt to build up, is over there with Mr. Zaslav. As I say, instead of trying to build up cable linear TV, which would profit from sponsorships if they built it all up and made it valuable, there is potential in that still to this day, and there's no potential to the streaming platform that they value. They've been at this streaming game for a long time. Disney have been at this streaming game for a long time. Apple TV have been on this streaming game for a while. Apple TV is spending money on quality entertainment. You can't accuse them of lacking quality, but they're not making anything back. People are not coming in their droves to subscribe to Apple TV. Apple TV should become a proper motion picture studio and start making movies for cinema, for theatres, and making the quality television they're doing for broadcast linear TV, because sponsorships would really, really make that valuable. But because they're so greedy and dumb, and all they keep on thinking is streaming, artificial intelligence. You know that technology that was created to replace fucking human beings? They're embracing that. And they're embracing streaming that one of their company's executives at Disney said is dead. So if you ever doubt how stupid new modern day Western English-speaking entertainment is, all you have to do is say these words. David Zaslav, Warner Brothers Discovery, the dumbest fucking studio in fucking Hollywood, no matter who runs it. I bid you a very good day. I'll see you tomorrow.